Okay, I'm going to make a quick video on using Adobe Audition in multi-track mode. So when you open Audition, it won't ask you anything. It'll just end up opening in this with this window open and everything blank. Okay, so first thing we need to do before we start anything is to go to the audio hardware and choose our audio preferences. Okay, if it's a Mac or a PC, this will be different up here. I'm on a Mac, so it's Core Audio. A PC, I'm guessing, will be ASIO. But anyway, what's important here is this default input and output. So I'm just using a laptop here, so I'm going to use the microphone within the laptop, and that's fine for most instruments. Even singing, it sounds not too bad. So we've got choices here. So the microphone will be the built-in microphone, and the output will be the built-in output. Now, it's important that you have to use headphones to do this multi-track recording. You need to isolate the playback sound from the recording that's going into the microphone. So you'll need a set of headphones no matter what you do. If you have an audio interface, then you will choose your audio interface in this default input and output. Another thing to check on this page is your I/O buffer size. Now this should be as small as possible, and this will reduce the latency, which is the delay between the sound going in and the playback sound coming out. So 16 or 32 is fine. I've chosen 16. So there's your audio preferences. Okay, the next thing to do is to put Audition into multitrack mode. So over here there's a button that says multitrack. Okay, this will open the multitrack editor and allow you to create tracks. So it will also create the session that you're going to use. Okay, new multitrack session, name it Comp 1. Where that folder will be saved is in the folder location here. I've got it on my desktop, but if you want to put it somewhere else, just hit browse and that'll allow you to put it somewhere else. Okay. What's important here is to create an empty template. So on this, you've got a whole choice of preset templates. We just want empty stereo session. So it will create a session with just a master fader and no other tracks, because we're going to create the tracks. Okay, there we have it. We have a master fader. Now we're going to create multiple tracks down here. That's why it's called multitrack. So first step is to go to multitrack up the top here, tracks, and add mono track. What's always good is to name this straight away before you start recording anything. So let's call this Vox 1. Okay. Now, if we put this into record here, as in there's a little R here, we should be able to see me talking. Okay. So we have me talking into this input. Down the bottom we have our transport, and the red circle is the record button. If you hold your mouse over it, it'll tell you what it is. I have a big mouse here to show you what's going on the screen. So pretty much we could hit record and record, but you might want to do that whilst listening to a click track. So I'll just show that quickly first. So up the top here we've got a metronome icon. So if you click on that, you get a metronome. Now this timeline here is in hours, minutes, seconds, so we want to change that to bars and beats just to make it more convenient. So if we right click on that, time display, go down the bottom, bars and beats. Alright, the default metronome timing is 120 BPMs. If we want to change that, again we right click on the time bar and we go down to edit tempo. If we look over here, we have properties window and we have a tempo. We can change that to 100 and we can change the time signature. What Audition can't do is actually change the BPM along the way, or as far as I understand. Okay, so there we have it. If we played that quickly there, we should hear the metronome. Okay, I don't want the metronome, I'm just going to record free. So, all right, now let's look at this. I've got a track, it's armed in record. We can actually listen to that as well by hitting this input listen button, and I will hear myself. That's not always a great thing to do depending what it is you're doing, but you do notice the delay if you can hear that in this screenshot recording. Alright, so this is our first track we're going to record. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's our first track. Now, we want to take that out of record. Okay, and say that was our first part of the arrangement. We want to put another part with that. Let's go to tracks, add mono track, shift the cursor back to the beginning, put the second track into record, name it box 2, and we can start recording. All right, here we go.
1,
A,
2,
B,
3,
C,
4.
D. Okay, there we are. We have 2 tracks and we can keep going.
1, A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, D.
Okay, there we have it. Now, when you've got a handful of tracks here, you might want to change the balance of them. So we're simply going to go to the mixer, and now we get a mixer view of our multitrack session. So we have our master fader over here, which stays at 0 pretty much. We don't want to change that. And we have our 2 Vox 1 and Vox 2 tracks here. So we can adjust the levels of one and the other.
1, A, 2, B.
Okay, I've just turned down the alphabet track there. Okay, so we're pretty happy with that. So let's bounce that track out. So once we've finished all our tracks and we've got our balance right, we can just go to mix down session and mix down entire session. Okay, there it is. Happened that quick. It doesn't play it to you when it mixes it down, but you can then play it now.
1, A, 2, B.
Okay, so there it is. Now we want to save this. We might want to save it and send it to somebody. So we just go save, and we choose where we want this to save to. So we want to put it in our comp1 folder. That would make it also convenient. So we choose where we want it to put. It's named at comp1 mixdown 1. We can change it to an MP3, and we can hit OK. Just saying you're going to save this as an MP3, so that's fine. Okay, there we have it. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, there's a little window here that shows the files. So it basically shows the 2 files we recorded, the multitrack session, and the mixdown that we just did. So that's all over here in this files window. If we wanted to continue with this multitrack session, we could go back to multitrack up the top here, and we could continue making it. When the other alternative to all of this is that you have a track that somebody's given you. So I'm just going to get rid of these tracks at the moment. Delete selected track. Okay, say someone's given you a file and you're going to put your part 2. It's as simple as just dragging and dropping the original track into the session. Okay, just make sure you push it right up to the front of the session here so everyone's timing is correct. Alright, so here's our backing track. This just happens to be a drum loop. It could be another part in the arrangement. If they have used a metronome, then it'd be good if they told you what the BPM is and you could set up a metronome. But if you're playing along with the part, you just drag and drop. So I'm just going to change the name of this. So the track is what the track is. Okay, again, there's our bed track, we want to go to add a mono track. So now we're going to play along with this track. Okay, so we put ourselves into record, we see we've got level, and then we can pretty much record. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. So again, we could put as many tracks alongside that bed track as we want, and again we would bounce that session out. We could go to the mixer view, we could adjust the drum track, play that, turn the drums down.
1.
Okay, so again we go to multitrack, mix down entire session. There it is. There's our lovely track. We just want to save that. So we hit save, mix down 2. Again, just check where it's going, what format you want that to be. We want it to be MP3, and then we will click. Okay, again, you can see over in this window here, we have all our mix downs, we have our tracks that are being recorded, and we have our drum loop. One thing that will be interesting is that when you save this whole session, we need to go back to multitrack, sorry. We need to go back to multitrack and we need to save. It will ask you, do you want to copy the dropped-in track or the bed track into the folder where the session is? And that's what you want to do. You want to go, yes, I'd like that external audio file to go into the session file. So you've got all your audio kept in one folder. So you want to say yes. Okay? All right. You've created a multi-track session and you've bounced it out. It's as simple as that. Make a few adjustments with level. You can put plugins on it. If you look at the mix window, you'll actually see that there's opportunities to put different plugins on it. So you can do that too, but simply you can just adjust the levels up and down for your multi-track session and make a nice mix and bounce it out. Okay, thanks very much.